How was
That's
coming
deep.
back from the military, from like finding a job and everything like that, like the transition.
Yeah. So kind of military, they I was in for 10 years. Looking back, I probably should have stayed 20 to retirement,
Mm.
but I got a lot of my father in me. And my father was an entrepreneur, and he was more of his own man. He didn't like working for people. He always wanted to be his own man. Now, when he died, he wasn't the richest man in the world, but it depends on how you look at it. Some people are meant to have jobs. Like that's their thing. Like I want that check every week. I want to have that security. But many
Mm.
people, entrepreneurship, they don't want to work for nobody. They don't want to be told what to do. But there's always gonna be somebody telling you what to do. Like if let's say you have your own business and you create widgets, okay, and but you're a salesperson, so your clients kind of dictate what you do, right? There's
Right.
always gonna be somebody in your life controlling what you do. But that being said, that's a lot of more freedom than going to a 9 to 5 every day where you got somebody telling you what to do and dictating what you do and don't do.
Mm.
Um, and so coming out of the Air Force, my father taught me how to. One of the most important things. Well, my father taught me a lot of stuff, and I tried to pass it on to y'all. Um, but one of the major things he taught me was how to get money in my pocket. And that's why, like, my father would take you, Jericho. I don't know if he took Solomon, but he would take y'all out, put some incense in your hand, and teach you how to sell stuff, and people give you money. And that's the most important gifts that somebody can give you. So that's why both of you, Jericho and Solomon, that's why y'all have this entrepreneurial spirit. Like you always think about like I want to do music, I want to own my own business because you have that in your blood. And when you do something and you've created it and somebody gives you money for it, it's very hard to go sit at a desk and have somebody tell you what to do for 12 hours a day, and you can think, well, man, I can go make this kind of money out on my own. I don't need, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And so that's one of the things my father gave me. I tried to give y'all. So when I came out of the Air Force, my father, what he did, here's what he did, right? He said, okay, I said, Daddy, I'm coming out, and I had like $30,000. The Air Force gave me like $30,000 as a severance pay because they wanted us to get out early because they were trying to save money.
Mm.
And he says, "Look, man, I'm gonna teach you something." I said, "Okay." So I came home, and we went to Chicago. At the time, you go to Chicago and you could buy stuff wholesale. You can still do it today, I'm pretty sure. You buy stuff wholesale. So we bought. I love baseball caps. So he showed me I bought all these baseball caps that had zodiac signs on them and teams like IU and the Colts and Chicago, all these different like Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls and stuff. So I had these caps, and I came back to Indianapolis, and I had like hundreds of caps. And my father took me. He said, "Okay, so you got this, you got this. So what you do is I went around with him. We got in his car, and we went around to all the barbershops and black businesses, right? So then uh, he introduced me to everybody, and what happened was I was like y'all. I was like really young. I mean, but I was like 30. I was like 28 years old. And so my father said, "This is my son, and he's got these caps." He said, "Y'all check him out." So we would go to all these barbershops and beauty shops and stuff, and I had these caps, and people start looking at them, and I charged $20 for the cap. And these were nice caps too. And my father, I mean, as I was going around, he would take me to all the places, and people were buying my caps, man. Like I was getting 20. Just think about it. 4 caps is $100.
Mm.
8 caps is $200, right? Just
Right.
think about that. And
Well,
so at the end of the night, he said, "So man, how much money?" He said, "I'm sorry, you're right. 10 caps is $200."
oh, there
So
we
at
go.
the end of the
Okay.
night, my fault. At the end of the night, at the end of the night, my fault. We were at this liquor store and standing outside. He said, "So son, how much money you got?" I can't, I'm like, really, I had never done this before in my life. So I put out my little money, right? I started counting in the parking lot. He said, boy, don't be counting your money out here in front of everybody. Okay, so we got in the car. So I counted my little money. I had like $400. And at that, think about that. You have some merchandise in your hand and you sell it and you made like $400 at the end of that 3 or 4 hours or whatever.
How much did the hats cost?
So you get the hat. So what we did was, it's called Keystone. It's called Keystoning. So let's say everybody does it. Businesses do it. Drug dealers do it. Everybody does it. Whatever you have. So basically, you double the price of what you sell it for. So the hats might have cost $5, $6, $7, $8 or $10, whatever, depending on the quality of the hat, right? And so what you do is Keystone means you double it. So if you had a hat that cost $10, you charge $20 or $25, whatever. If you had like restaurants they triple, because of the food costs. They triple what their expenses and triple that, and that's why they charge you $25 for that steak or whatever. And so, but think about it. Even so, after expenses, I made $200 or $300 that night. So that's what I did out of the Air Force. I know you're like, what? But I didn't really know anything. Like, I didn't really know what my future held. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't have God in my life. I wasn't Catholic. I didn't really know anything. And I'm just out. And my father was the one that showed me these kind of things. My father really wasn't religious. He wasn't a Catholic or a Christian. He tried to be, but it just wasn't in him. My father he wanted to be his own man, but he didn't realize that being your own man involves God. And that's how you really flourish, right? Because in the end, all the money you make it's not really important. It's your relationship with God, your wife, and your family. Those are the most important things. And then your job, your country, then your job, things like that, right? And so that's kind of what we did. That's what I did. And so for like 10 years, my business, I started going to Las Vegas to what they call the magic show, where there were people all over the world would go to purchase clothes. As I started selling clothes, outfits and things like that. And man, it was a wild time. My first wife, she thought I was messing around on her because I'll be working 12 hours a day or more because I'm out trying to sell these clothes, trying to make money, support the family, support my wife. And I didn't work for anybody. That's how I supported us. We lived in a nice apartment. We had food. And that's what I want you guys to really understand. I know you young men see Donald Trump, you see Elon Musk, you see Bill Gates, you see all these guys that making all this money, millions and millions of dollars, these businessmen making all this money. But really, man, you can be in business for yourself. You might not be rich, but you pay your bills every month and you support your family. That's success too. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's success too. It might not be to the highest of success of a Bill Gates, but it's still success of, I have a successful business that takes care of my family every month. And that's kind of where I was. But what I did that for 10 years, and then I started working for the post office. I worked there for 3 or 4 years. I couldn't take it. And I stopped working there and went back to selling clothes and a business like that.